I'm Brian.
And I'm Reggie.
And this is R&B Talks.
It is indeed.
It is. I didn't come here to do the Joe Rogan show.
Well, we would though.
We would, yes. Absolutely.
So Joe, if you're listening, totally would.
Give us a call, bro. It'll be fun.
We are so good.
We're so interesting and full of knowledge.
No.
We're interesting. Now, I don't know about the full of knowledge part.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Reginald. How are you this week?
Good, man.
It's December 14th that we're shooting this. We're almost to the crispiness time. You know, where love for our fellow man should pervade, yet it doesn't.
You know, I love Christmas time, bro. I do. I think it's awesome. But I think a lot of people, it's just more materialistic than anything anymore. But I think in general, though, you know, it's such a different atmosphere for like a first, you know, because we're first world problems here, man. I mean,
yeah.
So it's like, you know, there's really,
we ain't got no problems. We don't live in a third world country and starving and no clothes and all those things. We're cool.
Did get a new pipe for my own Christmas gift from a guy in EMC Custom Cobs on Instagram. I didn't know he made Briar stuff, but here it is. And I flippin' love it. It is amazing.
You are a pipe dude.
Yeah. I think they're awesome. I think it's definitely like a artisanal thing, and I really appreciate the work that goes behind it. It takes a long time. So.
I have a dumb question. Is it Ohioans, or Ohionites?
What?
We were having a discussion the other day, me and a person, and I called us Hoosiers, right? Because in the city of Indiana, we're Hoosiers. We're not Indianites. And he said, I'm from Ohio. We're Ohionites. And I was like, I don't think that's right. I think Ohioans or Ohioans would be right, but I don't think Ohionites. It sounds like a Hawaiian word.
I don't
know.
Neither one of those sound right.
None of them sound right. Ohioans? Just say you're from Ohio, dude. Why you got to make it complicated?
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds dreadful.
It sounds dreadful. It does. Oh, I'm just getting over a cold, by the way. So if you hear me clear my throat, it's because I'm on the back end of a cold. But anyway. So Reginald, what's on your mind?
It's hard to say what's on my mind, except that, holy cow, bro, you've been talking all morning.
I have, dude. I'm a morning person. I'm just a morning guy. I get quieter as the day goes on. I feel out around 4 p.m. and then I'm just kind of, my chattiness goes away.
I am not that way.
You are not. You are definitely a very stoic, quiet individual in the AM. But, so, what's on your mind, Reg? I know we wanted to talk about current events.
So there's like a lot of stuff going on. And,
there is.
And because we're not in the fervor of a political election, I thought, hey, this might be a good time to talk about some current events that are going on or whatever.
Yeah, I got some pretty poignant things that are some are upsetting me. Some make me laugh. Some are don't know what to do with them.
Dude, speaking of make me laugh, you know what makes me laugh hard is that the Hawk-tuah girl came out with a meme Bitcoin and people actually were investing in it.
And she ripped them off and she's probably going to go to jail.
I don't know about that, dude. I don't know if...
Well, she's disappeared.
Yeah. Well,
and you don't disappear if you didn't do anything wrong.
The thing is, here's the thing about Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, I should say, about cryptocurrency that's always intrigued me is like, you know, anybody can create a cryptocurrency.
They sure can.
If you can create your own blockchain and do all this stuff and you can create your own currency. And it just amazes me that we've come this far into the fake money thing that we are now saying, hey, look, digital fake money. Cool. And Bitcoin's worth a lot right now.
Yeah.
I was checking out the other day. It was like $100,000.
I've been kicking myself because I had opportunities to get in on the ground level
But
on
it's
some
fake.
of that stuff.
I mean, that's why I didn't ever do it because it's like, this is fake money.
Dude, if
know?
I bought it and
Just
sold it for $100,000, I would be fine with that. I'm sorry. I would be. I mean, and whoever bought it, if you're sucker enough to buy it, dude, good on you.
I know. And I'm not saying, look, okay, let me make this point. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy any kind of cryptocurrency or that cryptocurrency is illegitimate or anything like that. But I'm just saying that it's like the same thing as our paper notes that we have now. It's not really, it's like a paper IOU. It's fiat currency. It's not, like, because it doesn't have an actual value associated with it. It's fiat currency. So the dollar or the pound or, all this stuff, it's really just make believe.
Yeah.
And I understand that, look, I get the idea of currencies and money because it makes it makes the trade of commodities and stuff like that much easier.
Yes.
Goods and services much easier.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Cause you have a common denominator, right? But man, that when I know when Bitcoin came out and I was like, what? Why we got like some, but I don't know, man. I never really got into it. I'll say that. And I really kicked myself in the butt for not, because I thought it was interesting when it came out, but I thought, what's just another form of fake freaking money? So but it took off. Now look, it's ups and downs, but it's very much is way higher now than it was.
It sure is. Well, I think this speaks into something about wanting to be involved with someone who's famous. The only reason I could think that somebody would go out and buy a Bitcoin because the Hawk-tuah girl has a Bitcoin is because they want to ride on the coattails of her video and her fame and her podcast and all the things that she's doing. And more power to you. You did it. How you did it, man. I got no respect for your success because you're basically, I'm going to say it, you hoard yourself out for 15 minutes of fame, which bothers me. I mean, it speaks to our current society, right? That's what people chase. But in my opinion, you don't run unless you got something to hide.
I don't know about that, dude. I mean, you run if the attention's too hot and you got a lot of it, and you know that, because anymore it's not that if you've actually legitimately done anything wrong or right that you get thrown in, like actually get convicted for anything. I mean, because they can just, the way power and money works, you can totally get railroaded, right?
That's true.
So I mean, anymore I don't say that, but I do think, look, this drunk girl who gets on and has this stupid little short clip that went viral.
Yep.
And then it's good on her for, I don't know if it's her. I don't know, like if she had like a relative or she hired a consultant or something, but this is not what I would say would be the typical path from, hey, here's a viral video personality to here's a way to make money off of it. This is totally not the way I would think of, right?
No.
And it's kind of brilliant, dude.
Well, the thing about it too is, her merchandising, she's got t-shirts and all that. I mean, she's making money off that viral moment. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen have like you got a Hawk-tuah on that thing, t-shirt on. Like, I'm like, dude, really? What, I don't know, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I have all but lost faith in humanity at this point from some of the things that I've seen over the last 30 days. It's so tragic, her and the fame, this whole Google thing with This whole Luigi Maglione.
All right, we got to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really wanted to hit on today. And here's what bothers me, I've followed this closely because I want to understand the facts. You have a person who's obviously mentally disturbed. You have a person who obviously, through listening to a lot of hard left material, being influenced by a lot of hard left material, shot an innocent man in the back who had 2 children and a wife, right? So those kids their father's been stolen from them. Went on the run when he was found, had 4 or 5 different pieces of identification, all with different names on him. So he obviously had a plan, right? And there are women going online talking about how sexy he is and they want to sleep with him and that they support him for shooting the CEO of United Healthcare. And it's heartbreaking, honestly, because I feel like, how far have we fallen that an innocent man was murdered? Now, you can think what you want about the healthcare system. I don't like the healthcare system, and me, Reggie, I can go on for days about that. All the things that I've learned about our healthcare system would turn your hair white. But that man had a job. He was doing his job. Luigi Maglione didn't have enough balls to shoot this man while he was looking. He walked up to him with his back turned and murdered him, which right there, dude, you don't deserve any pity. You don't deserve any, you're obviously mentally ill, and I take that into consideration. But the absolute fervor that people have shown for calling him sexy and wanting to laud the fact that he murdered a man. And, there's been people that have come out and said, oh, it's a celebratory fact. There was actually an interview on Fox News where a female reporter that was let go from the New York Times laughed and clapped at the fact that this man was shot in the back and murdered, and said that she thinks it should happen more.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. I don't. But the but is the lack of consequence for actions that are people take or corporations make has gone to oblivion. There has to be some, in other words, it's the same thing with how there's a violent undertone to a discussion between men, and that if it really came to fisticuffs, that you're either willing to go that far or you're not, right? Your interactions with the world are the same way.
I understand that.
Hold on. I know.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that these, I'd say the elite, these C-level people who do make choices for their companies that, even in the case of United, that take care away from people or deny this or deny that, they should be reminded that there can be violent consequences for your greed and your power mongering. However, I know there's never a reason enough like that to go berserk and kill a person.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that. Now, if this Luigi guy, there's so many weird, we'll get to that in a minute. Now, if Luigi would have came up to that dude and punched him in the face, I don't think I've had a single problem with it.
I can't say I would have either. Right.
Right. I mean, it's like, you're not murdering anybody. You're just going up telling the dude, hey,
you suck.
This is absurd. Now, is that truly a correct thing to do? No, but I'm just saying that's far beyond committing murder.
My Bible tells me,
yeah, you don't do
not
that.
to murder people.
Yeah,
And I stand on the fact that, and don't get me wrong, Reggie, I have a long history. If you speak to some of the people that have known me through my life, violence is not away from my nature. But I've never been so angry that I wanted to murder someone.
Yeah, I get, that's what I mean.
But I'm also trying to give the caveat that he was obviously mentally ill.
So here's the thing. Everybody keeps saying, well, he was an Ivy League guy and all this stuff. Actually more reason I believe that he would actually do something like this.
Because
indoctrination of this leftist nonsense, right? Now, here's the real thing though. There's a lot of things that don't add up to this at all either. Yeah. Like when you see, I mean, now granted, people tend to like make all these conclusions about what they have access to. So anything public that's been released, that's not all the information they have. So like if you look at the surveillance footage and stuff that's been put out by the media and all that kind of stuff, and you can definitely correlate and go, there is not correlation here. And there are people that have been measuring different, like the eyes and all that kind of stuff. And they said it's not the same person. Yeah. And all this stuff. Well, okay, maybe. Cause here's the thing. And nowadays you don't flip and know all these weird events, like the Trump assassination attempt, the both of them, all these other shootings that have happened all have these very, very suspect information that is rebuked by some way or another. Okay. So the public itself is already primed to throw this in a conspiracy bucket because of all the other misinformation and disinformation that have gone on for everything else. This goes back to even like how Alex Jones got into such big trouble. Well, why did he get in trouble? Why did he believe these things? Well, because there's all kinds of misinformation and disinformation and things that don't add up. And it's the same thing with this Luigi stuff. You're telling me this dude had a backpack and all this crap, and then he keeps the gun for a while and doesn't have this here and doesn't do. It's just weird. And then at a McDonald's of all things.
But I think that this is all part of it. I think that, and I'm going to speak frankly. If you want to hide the fact that you've done something wrong, what do? You create confusion, right? They found you with several identifications. They have you on video shooting this guy. You can do all the talking you want to do. If you were innocent, why would you be running?
Again, especially him. If they've put out some misinformation about this guy. Yeah. Now, I don't think that's look.
But my thing is it's not Luigi Maglione, honestly. That's not the thing that shocks me, right? I thought our depravity bucket was pretty full. Right. I thought after all the transgender nonsense and all the pedophilia nonsense and all the, normalizing pedophilia and all the, the toxic fourth wave feminism that we've had to endure over the last 2 years, I thought the depravity bucket was pretty full. But when you get on whatever your social media platform is and you've got 50,000 followers and you prattle on about the justification of murder and how you want to have sex with the guy that committed the murder, that's just another level of low.
Well, yeah, that there's no
like Luigi Maglione doesn't surprise me. There are thousands and thousands and probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people out there right now suffering from mental illness that are undiagnosed. And if I could get all those people help, I would. Right? Mental illness is literally the current pandemic, right? But it's the people who aren't mentally ill to his state that want to go out and get their 15 minutes of fame. And the way you choose to do it is saying you want to be the sex toy of a murderer.
Well,
and that
I know,
and that it's and then you're a reporter who's already been fired from a major news publication to go out and think it was funny to laugh and clap and say that his murder was justified, and that you're surprised and probably think it should happen more.
Yeah, that's appalling, bro. And I think that does lend itself to how far our culture has really fallen from that stuff. And you know, this is what's that syndrome where the women fall in love with the prison mates? I forget what it's called.
I don't know, man.
But anyway, yeah, it's just weird.
I'm gonna say it, dumbass syndrome.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that, like, I'd say that if we actually had some semblance of trust for our justice system, this would probably be a much easier thing to digest.
Well, and on top of that, to be fair, our justice system sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So we've literally allowed so much to go on. You know, we've allowed so many terrible things to happen
and weaponized
our justice system, and you know, we've created these levels to the law, these intricacies and eccentricities that the law has, where, oh, well, these two people committed the same crime, but because of the circumstance that we emotionally see in this person, they don't get held to the same standard. We've ruined our justice system. Like, we've ruined it. You know, there used to be, I remember when you were a kid, dude, if you were out in public acting rowdy, they took you to jail. Hey, you're disturbing the peace. You're going to jail. Now, if you're out in the public and you're rowdy, it's your right to violate everyone else's sense of security, which takes me to the next thing I want to talk about. And that's Daniel Perry.
Yeah. Is it Perry or Penny?
Penny. I'm sorry. Penny. I'm sorry.
I thought it was Penny. Yep.
Dude, let me be clear. I see, I'm only going to say it once.
Drink.
Yeah, we would be hammered at this point. We would be drunk for
days.
We
actually joked about taking shots whenever he said, "Let me be clear."
This is one of those situations where, again, the situation's pretty clear to me. The man who had been arrested 45 times, had threatened violence on numerous occasions, was in a subway car threatening women, children, men, and Mr. Penny stepped in and protected those people. Now, we could have an argument on whether it went too far. Lots of things can happen, especially with someone who's got military training. You're a little bit higher on the scale of palpable violence.
You know what, though? Let me say this. I don't care.
I know. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to make that argument, I could have that discussion with you, right?
Okay.
But
I don't.
What really bothers me, which is why I think my depravity bucket is getting even fuller, is the list of African-American people who stood on the courtroom steps and defended this criminal's actions and called for black vigilantism. If it was your daughter or your son on that train car and he choked that man out, you would be applauding.
First off, I know what you're talking about. The BLM leader in New York City is a complete
pile of garbage.
Oh, dude. No, don't get me started on that. You can very much say he was a recipient of some of the BLM fundraising that did not make it to the communities, by the way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a complete and total scam. But no, here's the thing. I will not listen to any more, and I have good friends, and but I will not listen anymore to this racist rhetoric of the BLM type of movement or systematic racism nonsense or all this other crap. But with Daniel Penny, let me just say this. I've lived in New York for a while.
Yeah.
Like between New York and Boston, which I made that known. been on the subway many times, right? I'll tell you, there are some crazy flipping people that go on that train that make some stupid things. Now, most of the time, it's just a lunatic just doing something silly. It's not really threatening.
There's street performers. There's not
that. I'm saying there's just crazy people that get on the subway. They're riding it. They make a bunch of racket, but they're not doing anything. They definitely aren't threatening anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, there was one time where this dude was yelling at this Asian woman in her face. And the only reason why I did, and I literally was total, I didn't even think about it. I was not going to let that stand, right? But I was with family that was in there, and they they had to hold me back. And they did. They held me back. I would have been a Daniel Penny. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because that is uncalled for.
Let me be clear. If I'm out in public anywhere, and if we want to have a discussion about how I feel about violence against women and children, that's a whole show, buddy. But if I'm out in public and I see any man attempting to make a woman insecure, feel violated, feel like she's in danger, yeah, bro, I'm breaking that cycle right there. And I've done it before.
That's what I'm saying, Daniel. So to me, Daniel Penny did absolutely zero wrong. And to think, see, here's the thing. People aren't really, they just lost touch with the consequences of some of the stuff they do.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I tell you what, that's why it doesn't happen out in the country. You don't see this crap out in the country.
Trust me, where I'm from, they'll bury you in places nobody ever finds you.
But it's like even out here, Brian, like,
yeah,
you don't go around you don't do that.
Don't make enemies.
You know somebody will do something about it. It's not even a question. Like, if you go a crazy person and you sit there and yell at, like if it was at the Walmart down here in Cordon, right? And if somebody said, they were making a ruckus, no one would bat an eye if somebody just put that dude out.
Yeah.
And they would be like, cool.
Got what you deserved.
Yeah. It would be no, but in these cities where it's overrun with this woke
hot
nonsense,
garbage,
you get a Daniel Penny who comes in and says, no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's a big issue. But no, he didn't do anything different than any country boy.
He didn't do anything that any decent man would do. Right. And that's, I think the struggle for me is, when did it become a country where we could stand on the steps of the judicial system in the state that we're in and call for vigilante violence and get away with it?
Well, and we're sitting there as a hypocritical, just evil person who's taking advantage of a scam.
And let me be clear.
I'm just saying. The
guy that was there, the guy with the beard, don't know his name. You just wanted a chance for the television cameras to be on you. That's why you were up there running your mouth. You weren't running your mouth because you felt that way.
His cause is dead.
Because again, if your daughter or son was on that train car and Daniel Penny choked that person out and saved your daughter from the risk of violent harm, you'd be clapping.
Look, I think it's appalling that we have the vast percentage of violent crime perpetuated by Black Americans. I think that's just a freak that needs to change.
Yeah.
And I know so many, and call them brothers.
Yeah.
That we've had long conversations that, they're appalled the same way. So it's like, I feel like the tide is turning on that, and well, not even turning, but it was already there. What happened was some agenda driven mongering nonsense stirred up a portion of a culture that were susceptible to this kind of crap. I don't understand it either, but
well, let me be clear about this too. I consider it a responsibility of mine to protect people who can't protect themselves.
Yeah.
And I say this way. If you left, Reggie, and I was here at your house and danger brought up its head, I consider it my responsibility to protect your wife and kids if you're not here to do it. And I expect from any man that if you're with my wife and kids and I'm gone, that you would protect my wife and kids.
Well, it's not even.
And to me, that's the thing. It should just be an expectation. Oh, this guy choked out a crazy person who was threatening to murder people on a train. Okay. And I just keep walking. Like this is not Daniel Penny reached over and grabbed some innocent person and just started choking them out. Like, this is a guy who's been arrested 45 times. Has threatened violence on multiple occasions.
Yes.
what did you think was going to happen eventually?
Didn't he confront the guy and say, hey, you got to wasn't there a confrontation before that
I think there was a momentary confrontation between the two of them, and then it escalated, which...
I don't care if there was. I'm just saying, I was just wondering that. But
also, that's a lesson to be learned, ladies and gentlemen. Pick your battles, because you don't know who you talking to when you talk silly.
Look, it does, and even then, it doesn't look, because you'd be surprised what people will do. But here's the thing. I guess I'm just saying that in New York, especially from being there, the New York culture tells you to just ignore everything.
Yeah,
like you don't pay attention to anybody anywhere at any time. You really don't. It's like you walk down the street. You're not looking at anybody. You're not talking to anybody. You're not doing anything. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, one of the classic things I heard, and I used to work with a guy who was from New York, and he said that the police would tell women, don't yell rape, yell fire. You yell rape, nobody wants to come get involved, but you yell fire and everybody wants to watch something burn. Like that's pathetic.
Yeah, it is. But so I'm just saying, there are certain parts. I don't know what part of New York. I don't remember what part of New York this was, but I know in Boston, Boston's different. A little more in some aspects, a little rougher.
Yeah,
it's some of it. But anyway, I'll just say, hats off to actually being acquitted. By the way,
yeah, for sure.
I think that was a good call. I don't think that I'm surprised. But I think a lot of that has to do with the Trump being reelected thing has definitely already started to change some things and some attitudes,
some things, man.
And I think you'll see a whole bunch more now. We don't know, but anyway, yeah, I would do the same thing. Choking him out. I will say that I don't know about you. Don't know how he would. So here's the thing: the guy was obviously on drugs and all kinds of stuff. So it's the same. It's like the George Floyd thing where he didn't, where they buried those autopsy reports that said he didn't die from that.
Yeah.
He died from
yeah.
Well, same thing here too. I don't, he was so messed up on stuff or had been broken from this stuff. Who knows what that was actually doing. But again, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right?
Yeah,
FAFO, really.
Yeah,
without saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Sean Ryan actually even said, hey, Daniel, if you need a place to, if you want to, you can come here. We have a place for you. That's awesome because yeah.
And I got a feeling he'll wind up as a guest on the Sean Ryan show sooner or later.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So on to something else that's boggling.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this because I follow Mr. Joe Rogan on, you not dirty. Here we go. Let's go to here. I follow Joe Rogan on X, right?
Mm-hmm.
He posted from Chief Nerd. It says, and this was 3 days ago, hundreds of deadly virus samples have vanished from Australian lab in a major breach of biosecurity. Yesterday, Queensland's Health Minister Tim Nichols has announced that 323 vials of live viruses are now unaccounted for. These it goes on and on and on. Deadly stuff. What? Yeah.
Do we ever learn? Is there ever a moment where we go, yeah, we shouldn't make that mistake again? Let's here we go.
Not just that though. Does anyone, here's the thing. Why would I think that there's nefarious causes behind this, right?
Because there's been nefarious causes behind it before.
Because every single, it's like with evil Fauci and everything else, all this other nonsense and the money behind all this, the other stuff and everything else. And you're going to tell me that this happens at the time. Because remember, when I said it's interesting how quiet it is from the left after the election has been conceded and everything else. So wouldn't you think, because they're not done.
Well, I don't necessarily think they've been quiet. They've been quieter, but they haven't been quiet. I mean,
I don't say that. But
yeah, but I get where you're coming from.
So
right.
If they did the other big P word back then, right? If we know had all this, call it purposeful or not, but it was definitely not. It was funded and everything else.
It was definitely man-made.
So, and you're going to tell me now this pops up?
Yeah. 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 Bruh, come on now. And the thing is my question is, how did it get to the public so quickly? Like, that's a high level, like bioterrorism level kind of thing. Why would Australia be so quick to let that get to the media? Like, until I had some type of grip on it, I wouldn't be out there just throwing that stuff out there and hoping that people. That seems unnecessary. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's 3 classes of
almost purposeful.
Single strand RNA viruses. I don't know, dude. Okay, so look, I don't want to get caught up in like a conspiracy.
I honestly, I have to have more details to create a conspiracy.
Yeah,
right?
But all I'm saying is like, we're just that incompetent.
Yeah,
with things.
We're just that stupid.
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of, we got Iran flying drones over our country, and our current presidential situation, I won't call him a president because he's not behaving like one.
No.
Says that he doesn't have the authority to shoot down foreign planes flying over U.S. soil. What? Are we that? The Australia thing, the drone thing. There's been some moves made by Joe Biden and the suddenly absent Kamala Harris over this last 30 days that I literally think are purposeful in steering us into the wall. They want to leave as large a mess as they can to be cleaned up.
Okay. The reason, though, they're doing that is not just because of petty nonsense, but it is also to make their administration look better than what it is. Because the more mess that Trump has to clean up, the less he's going to get accomplished.
Well, and here's my thing, though. How do you make your administration look better by letting foreign entities fly over our soil?
Because it's the public, bro. That's the thing. The public in general just does not pay close enough attention to this stuff, dude.
Well, they believe what they're told.
They still still think CNN is like, NBC and NBC are still like legitimate news sources, dude.
Sorry, that's a terrible sheep impersonation.
It is, but
it was. But as far as the viruses go, like Australia has had a pretty kind of peppered history with when it rhymes with beloved swanteen. It's they just seem to keep kind of wrecking the dune buggy, man. Like, y'all should just shut up. Like, be quiet. Like, y'all obviously don't have control. Like,
I don't know.
It's this weird thing where, again, our society's got to the point where I am sure that a large majority of the people that read that news headline went, blah, blah, virus stole from a biolab. And they went, huh, and just kept moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I read it, I was like, what? I was like, what is going on?
It's the flag,
after
bro.
what just happened is going to let that happen? Dude, what'd you have it locked up with? Like a combination gym locks? What were you doing?
Saran wrap. So, yeah, anyway, I'm like, I saw that and I'm like, oh, come on, man. This is, okay. Moving on. Another one was the coup in Syria. Did you hear about that?
A little bit. I haven't gotten deep into it.
Yeah, so I get the I get the pour over, which is like a emailed news.
Yeah, it's like a Christian email news thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's pretty much what starts my day. Is I read the pour over I get. I'll read this one from you. This was from the 9th. Rebel groups finished their rapid advance across Syria yesterday, seizing the capital, ousting President Bashar al-Assad, and ending the country's 13-year civil war. Assad's removal into his family's 50-year rule of the country, freeing tens of thousands of political prisoners overnight. They advanced, blah, 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 to have the transitional government. President Biden described Assad's fall as an act of justice that brings additional risk and uncertainty to the region, which I don't think he probably said that because I don't think he can pronounce half those words. But I do think that it's like, do you wonder what it's like Haiti when we were talking about that earlier? Is it going to be what level of corruption is going to take over now?
Yeah.
Kind of thing in Syria.
Well, I think the problem is it's like my grandfather used to always tell me, there's always a bigger bully, right? Like if you think that bully's bad, there's always a bigger bully. Now I have a hard time because in the little that I've discussed this, the discussion was over U.S. intervention. And my thoughts are, dude, if those people want to kill each other, we're not going to stop them. So why would we send any intervention there at all? Like one of the things I see is us making mistakes as Americans is we really truly think that we have some ability to go into war-torn countries and places like Afghanistan and places like, Palestine and Iraq and all these places, and that we're going to make some kind of significant change. Yeah, no, it's never happened. Not in our history have we eased suffering, stopped terrorism. It's just gotten worse. And this thing of, and it does. I mean, if that is exactly what Biden said, was it a move of justice? You could make that argument. Does it create more instability? Well, for sure it does, because nobody knows what this new leadership's going to bring. Nobody has a clear view of what's going to happen.
And Assad he was a horrid.
Yeah, he was a terrible human.
I mean, come on. I mean, but if you're just going to oust him for the same but different, then why is that? I mean, there's no point.
Yeah,
right?
You're just replacing swine with swine. Like you're not really bettering the situation. Like, and here's the thing too, and this is something that I have found out. Ultimate power corrupts ultimately. And all you're doing by letting another dictator or another, egalitarian government take over is allowing the same thing to happen, but that government usually wants to top the previous.
Yeah.
So all you've really done is given them an opportunity to prove that they can be worse, right? But the thing is, there's been all this talk about us wanting to send, drones and why are we going so we can blow them up and the next evil monster can move in? How many bombs can you drop before you realize it's not going to get better?
Yeah. I don't think we should be the world police at all, but here we are being the world police.
Yes.
Or trying to anyway. I don't know if some of that will change under the new administration or not. I hope so, but,
well, it's just like this, the minister of Canada threatening to keep energy imports out of Canada if we put on the tariff. Oh, okay. I don't power my car with maple syrup, dude. Sit down. Nobody's afraid of you. You don't have any power. Canada supplies the lowest level of anything to us out there. Why? You're just mad because we're going to make you pay your fair share now.
Well, that's the thing about, I think I found Trump's interview with MSNBC like hilarious because he was just like, she asked him about tariffs specifically, right? And what did she say? Something about, and I mean, it was just the way he answered the question about the tariffs. Like, no, he just flat out, no, I can't guarantee anything. But economically, this is what it's going to do. When he responded to, well, another on sort of an unrelated topic, when he responded to like the way you can secede the 2020 election now or whatever, he's like, no. Anyway, but that part of the world of Syria is so chaotic, man. I mean, it's I don't know, war mongering after war mongering after war mongering after, you know, catastrophes and, you know, genocidal actions and all this stuff. It's like, oh Lord, man. And so I don't know, but I do think, you know, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
I know that speaking of international stuff, like I found it incredibly, I know we didn't talk about this too much, but Biden pardoning Hunter for the last 11 years of stuff, like,
oh my God,
talk about international connections that we know about that have been pushed under the rug because of who his daddy is. When we said, and we, I mean the party that is not the leftist morons who said, you know, look, the laptop is a big deal, and everybody was like, no, it's not. Da, 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 da.
If none of it was a big deal, why did he need a pardon?
That's what I mean. Like,
well,
why did he need a pardon for the last decade, bro?
And I've always committed to not speaking outwardly about The View, but I'm going to say something. When Whoopi Goldberg her response to why she thought it was okay for Joe Biden to pardon her was basically, well, somebody else lied, so why can't he lie? That's if that's your justification for, she said something like, well, he got tired of everybody else getting over, so he wanted to get over. When was that okay for anybody to say that in the public sphere? And honestly, I had a very dim view of all the people on the View panel, including the one that claims to be claims to be conservative, which she's not even close.
No.
But for you to come out and say, well, everybody else lied, why can't he lie? He's the president of the United States of America. If there is anyone on planet Earth that has to be held to a higher standard, it's him. So for you to say that, look, dude, you lied. You went out and told everybody. And here's the thing, your lie uncovered other lies. Because what has Biden always said? My Justice Department is strong. I trust my Justice Department. I trust the law. Well, obviously you don't, because you pardoned your son over an 11-year span with, the first time ever, a blanket pardon for anything, traffic tickets.
Doesn't matter.
Farted under the blankets. Whatever he did, he has been pardoned for. So exactly how much did you trust the law? Or were you lying then too?
It wasn't lying. It's a total lie. All of it's a lie. All of it.
You know,
all lie.
And that speaks to this whole thing with the left of, as long as it benefits us, we'll excuse a lie. How is that even amenable to anything?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like,
but and you know what, we have been, and I think this is coming out more and more, how social media was used as a way to sway opinions and all that kind of stuff with different topics, elections and everything else, right? We see this coming out in more and more detail as time goes on, and I think we'll see the actual climax of that coming up when the new administration actually takes hold, because they're fervently against any of this stuff, and I think they're going to uncover all kinds of more stuff, right? But one thing I think that we have to talk about, though, is how that's being policed in places like the UK.
Yeah.
Have you read about any of the nonsense? People are getting thrown in jail.
Yes.
For social media posts, bro.
When you say nonsense, I don't think that's a strong enough representation that you're throwing people in jail. Look, I don't like certain people. And I will be honest with you, Reggie, my Americanism gets stronger with every passing day, and I become very tribal as a U.S. citizen as a
Yep.
But I believe fervently in freedom of speech.
Yes.
I believe that should be a worldwide phenomenon. Even things you don't want to hear, everybody has a right to state their opinion. You don't have to like it, but you can't stop them from saying it. And for you to take people for their social media posts and throw them in prison, and I find it funny that most of them that I've seen are more conservative ideals and views. It's another way of saying my ideals, my causes just aren't strong enough for me to stand up and argue like an adult. So I'm going to throw you in jail because I can't argue with you. Which tells me, let's just be honest, it means you're stupid.
I have people in the UK on my team, right?
Yeah.
I manage these people, right? And they've all talked to me about, have you heard this? Blah, 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 you know? And I'm like, well, yeah, I read a little bit about it, but I said, well, is it, you know, from what I've seen, it's like it's not just a couple, there's like thousands of people that have been arrested for posts on social media, Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, is that true? He goes, yes. They it absolutely is. It's going on in the country. What? Okay. Here's what blows me away, right? This is, we're talking about online communication.
Yeah.
Where people say
horrible stuff.
I mean, we're talking all kinds of stupid, racist, angry,
keyboard warriors.
Oh my goodness. I mean, all kinds of things. And it doesn't even have to be keyboard warrior stuff. Like if you're playing a game, and I'll switch to this, like oh my goodness, bro. Like the talk that goes on is horrendous.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And you get all kinds of things. And you're going to tell me that you're going to take this stuff that seriously, that you're going to start arresting people on Facebook and stuff.
Of course they are.
It's insane, dude.
It's stupid.
Now, I think it's insane for you to communicate some of these people, and particularly younger people too, I think. Why you choose to communicate the way you do online is absurd.
Well, because they believe there's no consequences. They believe that this is a place where I can say whatever vile garbage I want to say. Nobody's going to hold me accountable. Nobody's going to tell me I'm wrong. You know, and I mean, you know, and I've got another thing that has to do with social media I want to talk about, but you know, there's this, and the only thing that they're doing by locking people up the way they're doing it, honestly, is they're just taking another peg out of people having faith in the system.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, our systems are breaking down at a rapid rate, Reggie. Like worldwide, our systems are breaking down at a rapid rate. Eventually, that's going to have a very widespread consequence beyond our control. And we're careening in that direction so quickly that I don't know that we will ever be able to steer back from it now.
And I think when you hear talk of like end times and because there's a lot of that, especially here lately, you have to consider that it's not about the United States of America.
No,
it's about the human race as a whole, right? Covering the entire globe.
Yeah.
So you can't just look at America as
Christ is not unique to the United States.
No, he's not. That's not it at all. So I think you have to look at the global chaos and say, okay, what's that? You can't just look at U.S. and go, this is what the U.S. is doing. Therefore, this. No, but it makes sense. I just wanted to make that point because everybody seems to always look at America and go, oh well, it's
Well,
that's not true.
Speaking of social media, and I don't know why this caught me, but it caught me. There is a transgender influencer by the name of Cyrus Vayesi. Or Vasey, or however you want to say it.
Okay.
Who made a woke ad for Google and who has made the statement that the reason that women, not men, women don't want to share bathrooms is because women hate trans people. Now, on top of that, he attended in October, let me read this. He attended a Catholic event called the God's Love We Deliver Golden Heart Awards at Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. This is where I struggle with the Catholic Church, Reggie. And let's be clear. I know a bunch of Catholic people, and they're friends of mine, and I don't hate Catholic people. I don't have anything against Catholic people. I love Catholic people. But it's when things like this happen where, all right, this guy has lashed out against women, and I'm going to call him a guy because he's not a woman. He'll never be a woman. This guy has lashed out against women. This guy is obviously suffering from a mental disease. That's what body dysmorphia is a mental disease. And the Catholics thought it would be a great idea to invite him to the Golden Heart Awards of Cathedral of St. John the Divine. And they have not come out and condemned these remarks. They have not even come out and commented on these remarks.
Of course they haven't.
And for me, this is where I struggle, right? My Bible, my faith tells me that things are right and wrong. There are rights and there are wrongs. And I see, and it's not just the Catholic Church. I'm seeing it in the Methodist Church. I'm seeing it in a lot of the small or the larger Christian churches. You're creating gray area
where none exists.
That is directly against the advocation of God. It's for you to create the gray area, because that says to the public, we believe that we are wiser than God. You are not. And for you to come out and support this, and I'm not saying ridicule this person. Obviously they have issues and troubles, right? That would make them believe that somehow, he made a woke Google ad where he complained about dry skin. He's gone on to social media multiple times and accused women of hating transgender people. I don't hate any transgender person. I feel sorry for you, honestly, because you set yourself up for so much ridicule. And then when you get it, you think it's because of hate. No, it's because it's unnatural. And all of these, but this is where I struggle. I'm struggling, right? Because now Google has decided to jump on the train with this dude and go out here and propagate this lie in order to profit from it. And Google's statement was, and I read this, Google does not necessarily agree with all of the opinions of the people that influencers we work with.
Yes. They have to do that in order to just.
Yeah, but it's a state of agreement for you to allow that person to go on a worldwide stage and propagate lies.
It is.
That is a state of agreement.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
I totally agree. I mean, but okay, here's the thing. Do you think, and this is, I'm asking anybody on whatever affiliation you are, what does Google promote and advertise in like a country like Saudi Arabia? Would they have this influencer be shown?
No.
Would they fly some rainbow flag looking thing in Saudi Arabia?
No.
Why?
Because they would be banned.
Exactly.
If
they truly felt this way and was like real, felt empowered to do, and this is their thing, they wouldn't care. They would absolutely put pressure on these places that didn't allow them to share their views and say, well, because we're so anti that, your treatment of women, your
denial of
whatever
women's empowerment, and
now granted, I'm not for the way they treat.
No, not at all.
Certain things, but anyway, I guess that's look, corporations are for their corporate interests alone and for the profit and revenue of the company. That Google has they don't care. They do not care about social issues whatsoever.
Well, and
Google
like I said,
itself, I'm not talking about the people in Google, but the entity known as Google does not have
an agenda driven by
anything
causes.
other than the more profitable expansion of itself.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's this whitewashing religion to socialize itself. It's infuriating. Do you think that your religion is so weak that that's what you have to do? Do you think that the words that you were given by the one true God are so fallible that you have to make up your own rules?
Well, there's the biggest problem, though. It's against actually the people that call themselves Christian or a Christian type.
Yeah.
That support and rally behind this. Like, what? That's absurd. Like, it's not. You call wrong.
Yeah.
But the Bible's clear. Like, if there's no gray area here. There's really not. It doesn't mean you don't
love and honor people.
Yeah, that doesn't mean any of that stuff. It's not like a.
But there's certain things that we are required not to accept. And
except though, it's an exception. We're not accepting it as a legitimate, holy example of a relationship or personhood.
Yeah, like it just isn't. Like, and again, I go back to things that I've said before. Where are the women right now? There's a few of them, but where are the women that need to be standing up and going, no, this is not okay.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
For you to masquerade as something that you're not in order to garner the benefits of what we fought for all our lives. Where are you? Because I don't hear a lot of you right now.
Oh, but I see a lot of them, bro.
Well, you do, but on the whole, you don't hear from a lot of them. Like,
well, I think it's a hard thing because you're talking about.
I will make the argument that you heard from them during the election. You heard from them when this election was going on. I think a lot of the silent majority that you heard from were women who were just fed up.
Speaking of women,
lay it on me, bro.
There is a Joel Osteen produced movie by the woman, the heiress of heaven, the co-sanctification maker. That's what the Catholic seem to think of, Mary. There's a Netflix movie that Joel
about Mary.
It's called Mary. The movie it's about Mary.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet because it's Joel Osteen produced.
Yeah, dude, I don't want nothing to do with that freak. Sorry,
but I know a lot of people are watching it. And I watch a guy named his channel is called Wretched Radio. Great, I love his little stuff he does all the time. Anyway, here's what he gave a couple things about the movie that everyone should understand. And I think these are important if you go to watch the movie. The screenwriter consulted Catholic, Muslim, and Jewish consultants, right? In order to put the movie down, on the script down, right? Why would you be interested in Muslim and Jewish consultant? I don't know. There's no Christian there, just Catholic. DJ Caruso's who directed it. He drew from historical and apocryphal sources, such as the infancy gospel of James, which is completely heretical, to gain additional insights into Mary's life and times to put together kind of the movie, right?
So, in other words, what you're saying is you'll never watch this, Brian.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll never watch that.
They put a lot of words in the mouths of people that are entirely apocryphal that came from books that are completely not legit.
Yes, I will never watch that movie.
The film makes up a bunch of stuff about, when they fill in stuff and or whatever, they make a whole bunch up. What he was saying is that the people really, if they're watching a movie, they won't be able to discern fact or fiction because it's all blended into with this movie, which is totally probably correct. Very much a Catholic agenda, right? Because, Catholics hold Mary up as like this godlike figure when she's a woman. She's a human being. She can't hear anything that's going on down here. She's gone. She's in heaven. doesn't have anything to do with anybody down here, but yet that's what they do. So one of the things that Caruso said was he wanted to make Mary more accessible to all. What? Right? Does that make any sense? No.
Not really.
She is portrayed as more than a human character in the movie, like as this almost Christ-like figure. Now, I'm not discounting what she went through or did or who she is, but the fact is she's still a woman who's completely human, who never was more than that, right? And there's just so much of it that's just wrong, right? That's what he was saying on the Frio. What's his name? Jeff Frio? Todd Frio. That's that Frio. So anyway, if you watch the Mary movie, anybody out there,
okay,
just be aware that the way they made that movie is from all kinds of sources and stuff that is not acceptable to all of Christendom in scholarly academia or any other way. Okay. And it definitely has an agenda that's there. Right. So
of course it does.
So, I mean, I'm probably going to watch it just because I'm curious, but it's like, I mean, I'm already anti how the Catholic Church view Mary as it is, and kind of repulsed by a lot of that. So we'll see how that goes, as it were. Anyway, that was one thing to note here.
Well, here's the thing I find about most modern Christian movies, and some of them are good. Some of them I've watched and I've been like, yeah, that's got a good message. But a lot of them are sensationalized, and like most movies that claim to be historical, they've added all this garbage that's, wasn't existent, wasn't part of the whole story. My advice would be don't watch it. Don't support something. If you're out there and you're thinking about watching Mary, turn it off. You're not getting the truth. But then again, that goes into our society's current existence of, truth doesn't matter. Just what makes me feel good. Right. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to watch it, and, all the lies and propaganda that get fed into it are going to influence their opinion, and they're going to get the wrong view, and they're going to think that Mary was some kind of, some kind of powerful deity that, well, no, she wasn't. She wasn't at all. I mean, I'm not saying that Mary's not valid. She was the mother of Christ. She played a huge role in Christ's life.
Obviously.
She is the epitome, in my opinion, of a mother, but outside of that, she was a human being, and she lived and died like every other human being did. She didn't have any kind of existential power that came from her, and anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. There's kind of a current event I want to talk about. Guys, we are in a couple of different fights right now societally. We have a mental health crisis, but we also have an addiction crisis.
To all kinds of things.
Yeah. But, drugs, fentanyl, meth, all those things they're spreading like wildfire, man. Like it's an epidemic of literal biblical proportions. What I would encourage people to do is get involved in a outreach ministry that deals with addiction. There's lots of them out there you can follow online. There's Addiction Plus, Warpath Ministries, all those things that they're trying to use the church to give people strength.
Even Southeast has a weekly meeting, by the way, for a group of addiction stuff, which is really good.
But it's easy to condemn an addict, right? I have a history of addiction in my family, drugs, alcohol. I know what that does. But the real shame about it is our government is letting the equivalent of a passenger airplane die daily. About 190 people a day die from overdose and addiction. We were willing to let 190 people a day die in our own country, but we'll send billions of dollars overseas to fight a war that we got no business being in. So I would encourage people, man, that I've been trying to get connected with outreach ministries that have to do with addiction, because I think that there are honestly people who are struggling, and I think that God can save them, but they don't have enough wherewithal to find it. So we got to bring it to them. So I would encourage you this Christmas season, this is a season where we're supposed to be loving our fellow man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Reggie, the last 3 or 4 years, Christmas just hasn't seemed the same to me. A lot of it has to do with the way society treats Christmas. A lot of it has to do with the way that we treat each other. But we need that connection more now than we've ever needed it. We need that willingness to step out and say, I'll be a light.
Well, let me add to that and say there's a necessity for men to be the leaders and the men that the Bible has called us to be ever. It is so important right now to do that. It's always important, yeah. But you got to understand that the reason why we're here, and this points right back to why we're sitting here, why we spent all this money and everything else on this production, is just to be another voice for the men to say, rise up and be who you are supposed to be.
Let's be clear. And we've talked about this before. That's twice. Every major civilization that allowed the role of men to weaken died.
That's fact.
And it's not different right now. My wife asked me a question last night, and she goes, well, we were talking about men who take testosterone. And she had some people that were talking to her, and she said that those men were violent. And I just went, no. I was like, testosterone within itself does not make you violent.
No.
Testosterone's sole purpose is to keep you from aging and to also keep your lean muscle mass and for sexual health for amongst men. I'm like, there's no study anywhere that any dosage of testosterone will make you violent. What makes men violent, and I will say this boldly, is our society has deemed us the enemy. And when you push a man and you push a man and you push a man and you defame a man and you take a man's willingness to be a man away from him, and you try to mold him into something that he is not naturally through God nor through nature, you're going to get what you get. Men are lashing out because men are being told that we are bad for being men. Now, granted, there are studies that show that steroids and things like that can cause.
What was I took that thing, androstenedione or
andesine?
Andesine, yeah.
Yeah. And it'll make you very aggressive, but it's almost like alcohol. When you drink a lot of alcohol, it brings out the real you.
In my 20s,
yeah,
that was not a right thing for me to be taking.
That was not a smart decision.
No.
But
now, was I pumped up?
Yeah, you were jacked.
Oh yeah,
but nobody wants to be around the jacked.
No, it was
angry guy.
There was like a 6 month period, dude. I was pretty much turning green.
Yeah,
and no one wanted to be around me because I was so.
Because you're all yelling and
I'm just
gripey and
the whole time.
But I say this, and this is an encouragement to men. Be who you are. And by be who you are, what I mean is you were built to be a servant and a protector.
A provider.
And a provider. And don't ever apologize for those roles. Anyone that doesn't appreciate those rules within you, remove them from your circle.
Speaking of that, so I've been watching the show Landman.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start watching that Sunday.
Dude,
so
it is phenomenal, by the way.
Okay,
but it's definitely not kid friendly.
It's not at all.
Right, but one of the characters in there, the main character that Billy Bob Thornton plays,
yeah,
which he does a fantastic job, by the way.
Yeah.
But
although lately Billy Bob Thornton has been dressing like a homeless pirate.
yeah, he's weird.
Yeah, he is.
But anyway, in the show though, and I'm not going to spoil this for anybody, but like he's got a relationship with his ex-wife that is just so real and so I would say, I don't know. It's just amazing. But what is exemplified though in there is when the wife is like nagging or like, how would you put it? Just way upset about the guy working.
Yeah.
You see, I've had this conversation so many times with different women throughout the different churches I've been involved in and everything else, where they're like, he just works so much and I never get to see him and this and this. Okay, listen. Most of the time, there's a reason why he's working so much. Now, that's our purpose, right? I mean, what we should, the thing is like, yes, you should spend time with your family. But I mean, like I this is one of the agreements me and my wife had before we got married or started a family or anything, is I said, hey, I have my own things. I work a lot. I will spend time with the family and I will be here for the family, but I consider it a primary role in being a man to work my tail off.
Yeah.
And that's going to require many hours of the day. So, and that doesn't even mean my actual employment.
Job. It means working on your home, your car.
Like for me, it's like, it was like for school, like it would be like I'd work a full day, which was more than 8 hours a lot of times. We'd have a meal together, which we'd spend some time together, right? But then I'd have to go like read and study for like hours, right? Nowadays, it's like I'm working and I get done with working. We have a meal. I sit down with the kids or do this or that, and I'm doing. I'll have to do research for the show, or I'll have to. I got a study of something I'm doing with. Like right now, I'm going through The Unseen Realm by Michael Heiser, and I'm trying to read that book and do all that kind of stuff. But also too, I'm going outside and I'm just being physical because we need, as a man, you need to be physical in some way, I think, in order to keep your body and your mind working like it should.
Your testosterone levels are directly connected to your amount of activity.
So I just would encourage women. And if you're a husband here and your wife is, I would encourage your wife to say, look, God didn't put me on this earth to sit in a chair or talk to you or whatever for hours and hours a day.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's times that might happen.
Yes.
Right.
But it's the typical male is not designed to do that.
No.
Okay. And I think that's just something that women need to understand. And it's not because they have, as a matter of fact, the more you nag them, the more you are negatively
driving them to do what they're doing.
You're going to push you're going to keep pushing them away.
Well, and this is that thing too. You know, women, you need to make a decision. Do you want a man,
or do you want a play toy?
Well, no. Do you want a man? Because a man is certain things, right? A man is a provider, a protector, a servant. He's most real actual men I know are stoic. They spend a lot of time figuring things out, trying to figure out ways to make things better. Or do you want a Nancy? A guy that cries with you and tells you that, oh, it's okay, you could be it. No, because most women reject that guy after a little while because they get tired of it. They want a man.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest things I tell people all the time is it's not about an adjustment of expectations, right? When I talk to people who are struggling in this, it's not about an adjustment of expectations. You married a man. It's about an adjustment of your reality.
I would just say the more supportive you are, the better off you are. But and to the men though, there is a point that you have to say, okay, my family needs me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely like, it's okay if your primary, things like your daily tasks and stuff, take you hours, the bulk of your day. That should be absolutely what you're doing. Just understand though that you have a family that needs you as well. So like, as long as you're denoting, and that's different for everybody, by the way. This is like, that this time period I'm talking about is different for everybody. You just have to, and here's what I would say. You have to get at least comfortable with communicating with your wife about how you're feeling, what you're doing. You have to be transparent a little bit here and vulnerable with you. And I'm not saying do that with everybody. I'm saying, but with your wife.
But let's also remember that there's a difference between truth and transparency.
Yes, there is.
Truth is a consequence of needing to tell you somebody something that they didn't already know. If you're transparent with your wife, she's never going to have to need the truth from you.
No.
So
that's what I'm saying. Just make sure if you communicate, and if you have trouble communicating, tell your wife, hey, I'm having difficulty communicating my feelings here, or this, that. But if you don't talk to your spouse at all, you're in trouble.
Or if you're in a situation where you know that the things that you're going to say aren't going to be helpful, tell her that.
Yes.
Look, I'm a problem solver. You obviously don't want me to solve this problem. So I'm going to sit here quietly and listen to you, but I'm not going to respond. Right? Like the other day, I've started asking my wife, is this a fixer thing or is this a listen thing? And she'll tell me, I just need you to listen. Okay, I'll just listen. And then I just listen. If she goes, this is a fixer thing, okay, let's fix it.
Yeah, right? I always ask a question like, are you venting?
Yeah.
Do you want me to just listen to this? Or do you want my feedback?
Yeah.
Like,
if you don't want my feedback, but a lot of times, and this falls on women too, a lot of times they won't tell you what they're looking for. They just start talking.
Yeah, we don't have crystal balls. We can't do that.
And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I didn't want you to fix this. Well, you didn't tell me what you wanted. You just started talking.
Well, the hints, this is the thing. Women like to do these hints, right? They just hint at something.
Dude, this is a conversation my wife and I have every week.
I know. And I'm like, and same way with mine. And I tell her, I'm not always going to be able to pick up your hints. I said, sometimes I might get it.
Sometimes I might catch it.
But in general, if I'm thinking about 14 other freaking things going on or trying to solve all these other problems, I'm not thinking of your hints.
And I think what our wives also don't realize, and this is not a persecution. This is just a fact. When there's children in the mix, you're the problem solver for them too. So a lot of times my wife will come to me, and I've had my 16-year-old son come to me and tell me about the problems he's having. I've had my 13-year-old son come to me and tell me about the problems he's having. So I'm working on those problems mentally, trying to figure out a way to help them. And then she's coming in with this third set of problems. I've only got so much grind in my brain.
That's it.
For all of these things that are being juggled. So just men are men. We're going to be what we are. We're very simple creatures. We're not complicated to figure out, but you also have to understand that I am not a magician. I'm not going to get all of the underlying tones of what you're saying. You're going to have to be direct with me. Brian, I need you to listen to me right now. Okay.
I need this.
I need this. Okay. Brian, I have to have that. Okay. And also you have to be like, this is something I'd like to have, but it's not necessary. Because a lot of times, how many times have we done this? Our wives go, I would love to have this. And we run out and buy this expensive item and bring it home like we've done something great. And they're like, well, I didn't really need that. Well, you didn't tell me that. You said you wanted this thing. I went and got you this thing.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me you don't need this thing, right? Like we don't speak that sub language that you speak. We're not built for that. So you're going to have to provide clarity, right? But I mean, let me be honest, ladies. In this day and age, if you got a blue collar working man that busts his tail and brings home a paycheck and takes care of his family, you have gold. Because the current generations aren't those people.
There's some of them.
There's a few, but they are much less now than they were before.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward today because I finally get my elbow brace in. Okay. So I can.
All right. So tennis elbow.
Yeah. It's a severe case of tennis elbow. Like, in other words, what I did was I did overextend it.
Yeah.
Went to see the doctor.
Yeah, you hyperextended it.
So I strained my bicep muscle, but that healed.
Yeah.
I overextended it, and I pulled the tendon on the outside, right?
You pulled that brachial tendon. Yep.
So what she said was it's just an 8 week thing. I got to get a brace for it.
Compression.
Put compression on it, ice and all that kind of stuff.
Remember to switch ice and heat.
So anyway, I'm looking forward to that, to get that today. I have not touched the tire because like I said before, the mace is like,
you need to heal that before you go after that tire.
Yeah. So what I have been chopping wood using my smaller splitting axe.
Yeah.
Right. Something that isn't as heavy.
Yeah.
So it isn't straining this particular thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do something, not just nothing, right?
Keep moving.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting the brace. That'll make it a little easier.
And you do know that the scientific studies show that motion actually helps you heal faster.
Yeah, which is why I've been
people
doing
that like strain a wrist or strain an elbow or pop a shoulder, you got to keep moving. Blood flow helps it heal faster. And when you increase your blood flow, you get more nutrient reparation to the muscle. So
yeah, but yeah, I'm a little, my checkup that I had this past week was pretty good, but man, my triglycerides are still off the chart. Well, I shouldn't say off the chart. They're way better now than they were, but it's still like they still need improvement and all this kind of stuff. And really, some of that is because we try to do unprocessed stuff and whatever, but we still don't. It's not purely that way. And plus we've gone back to like a really strict budget now.
Yeah.
Again, just because we're really trying to make some vast changes into how we use money, and a lot of that needs to go. We're trying to do more investment stuff. And that's what I put in front of my wife. But again, I talked to my wife about this because I take care of all the finances, right? I'm like, hey, we need to go do this and let's make this our, dollar limit that we spend a month on this and this. And I did a consolidation thing and I did a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, hey, and I did all that. And we, so we got this strict budget. So some of it's just because it's just some of the stuff that's not processed is just expensive.
Yeah. The problem we have in America right now is eating healthy is unattainable for a lot of people.
It is.
It's financially unattainable.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're looking good and all that kind of stuff, but I'm kind of excited today to get the brace on and see how that helps me with
It'll
stuff.
feel better within a day or two. Once you've got a compression on it, it'll actually start to, because once you pull that tendon back into place and you set it right and you let it sit like it should, you'll feel better almost instantly.
Yeah. I mean, because like right now I have to avoid lifting rounds and all that stuff. So I'm trying to, it's really tough. It's amazing how tough that is when you can't really lift with your right arm. You're just trying to pull everything around with the left and stuff. Obviously like a big, oak round that's like this and it's 18 inches tall. There's only so much you can do.
There's only so much pulling you're going to do, man.
But anyway, yeah. All right. That's it for today.
All right.
Appreciate you watching. Catch us next time. I think we're going to do a Christmas episode.
Like, subscribe.
Do all that stuff.
But most of all, guys, just go out there and be in the world. Don't be of the world and be open to helping people.
We're R&B Talks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.